Obsession is a movie about the horror of selfish men. Major spoilers for those who haven't watched. From the very beginning, we have two main male characters, both Ian and the main protagonist, Bear. From the get go, we learn that Bear has a crush on Nikki, and Ian does not want him to confess his love, especially in a way that inconveniences him, like at trivia night, which is something he holds dear to his heart. This is the first instance that we see that men are being the problem. Later, we learn that Ian is in a romantic relationship with Nikki, just hooking up. But in that moment, Ian is not telling Bear out of the kindness of his heart. He's looking at this from a purely selfish point of view. And that is how the movie kicks off. Everything about the movie is how a man can be extremely selfish and not take any accountability or responsibility for his actions and ruins the lives of other women around him while also ruining his own life. Both Bear and Ian make very selfish choices. Ian, being the far lesser of the evil here, doesn't want his relationship with Nikki to be tarnished by Bear, so he doesn't encourage it as much as he wanted to and tries to get in the way at the bar and everything else like that. He wants Nikki to himself. He sees her as property. And then at the end, when he gets the wish thing and he says, hey, this is not real, let's break it, and then I wish for $1 billion. That is a purely selfish choice because he doesn't like Bear as a friend. Bear is ruining his relationship with Nikki. And so he does that not out of, this is not real. He does that out of spite against Bear. And consequently, he ruins his own life because then he comes over and then he dies. If he had believed Bear, if he had been there for Bear as a friend and chosen to use that one wish to help Nikki, a girl who is desperately in need, he would have saved his own life. He would have been a hero in this scenario. But as not, he was a villain, and he was far a smaller villain. The main villain of the story was Bear, someone who did not fess up his feelings for Nikki. From the start, when he goes to try to buy the necklace for Nikki to show her a grand gesture, he gets self-interested and buys the willow, the one wish willow instead. But what ends up happening is that he does not give it to her as a wish for her. He chooses to use it himself. Everything is about his own selfish desire to use women and his own power against them to take away their autonomy and use them for his own bidding. So much so that he wishes that Nikki loves him more than anyone else in the world, even more than herself. So what ends up happening is that she becomes this completely different person, this sort of entity that we see, where it is no longer her, it is someone who is devoted only to Bear. And right away, this man understands that there's something wrong. He understands that she's not in her right mind. He thinks maybe the wish thing worked. On the other side, he thinks maybe it's not the wish. Maybe it's actually her who's interested. But no matter what, he takes full advantage. Even when she admits that she had lied about the entire thing with her dad having cancer, he goes, screw it. I don't care. And then he just rapes her then and there. It is horrifying. It is terrible. Nikki loses her entire autonomy. She loses her body. She's watching from afar, screaming, asking anyone to help. And what does Bear do? He does not take any responsibility. When he learned that the only way out is to kill himself, he doesn't do that. He's inquiring about other methods of how he can get out of this because he doesn't want to ruin his own life. He's fine with ruining everyone else's. And he ruins his Nikki's and he ruins Sarah's, who gets beaten to a pulp in the car. And it is just tragic because she was about to go to art school. And it's like, you are plucking women who are just about to take flight with their wings. It is terrible. It is depressing. It is very sad and it is very well done. The movie is extremely creepy and Bear is a top 10 villains of this year so far. He is a terrible, terrible dude. And then finally, at the very last moment, after everything had happened and he's killing himself with the pills, what does he end up doing? He almost vomits them back out. But again, this entity taking over Nikki's body uses the one wish willow to wish him back and wish that he loved her as much as she loves him. And what ends up happening is that's the only thing that stops him from preventing his death. He would have thrown up those pills because this man does not take any accountability throughout the entirety of the movie. men typically don't take accountability for their actions and they often blame other people, or women take the brunt of their actions, of the consequences that would befall upon them. They have to deal with it. Their lives are ruined because of the selfish and stupid choices that men make. And that is what the movie is about entirely. It is a man who fully believes that he can just take a woman's autonomy away and then it would serve him the best. He knew from the start that this was not real. And yet, when it inconveniences him, when it ruins his life, that is when he's sort of forced to take action that, again, he's really hesitant on taking. He doesn't care if he ruins someone else's life. He doesn't care if he ruins two women's bright futures. He cares only if he ruins his own. And that is probably one of the scariest things you can showcase in any movie. A side note, a theme that I also picked up on was the hints against AI. At a certain point, Bear acknowledges that this is not real. And he's using things like ChatGPT and he's using the internet like this Reddit sort of post where they are essentially telling him what he wants to hear. That becomes synonymous to Nikki, who is constantly freaking out, and then the entity is taking over and telling Bear what exactly he wants to hear. And that is how the sort of role of technology is played in this, especially when we have the manosphere as it is today, where men are just going to the internet for validation and they're learning that, hey, everything is totally fine with the way I'm acting, way I'm behaving, way I'm doing things. And that validation just lets them dig their heels more into their awful behaviors. That is not a good use of technology. That is a horror of AI, and that is represented in this movie as well as the horror of a selfish man who will do anything he can to ruin anyone else's life except his. So by far, this is one of the scariest movies of the year, and I wholeheartedly recommend it. It was actually very well done. There were some scenes that startled me so much, and my heart rate was spiking, and I just felt this anxiety in my chest. It was very well done, and the message hits so much harder when you know how horrible this main character is. So there you have it. I give you my thoughts and opinions about what Obsession meant to me. And now I want to hear what you all think about it down in the comments. Do you agree or disagree with my opinions about it? Let me know. And if you enjoyed this video, consider dropping a like and subscribing for more. As always, check the links in the description for my main video essay channel and my Patreon to support the channel and recommend media for me to review next. Thank you all to the current Patreon members whose memberships keep this channel afloat. I am so grateful you are all here with me. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.